Hello everyone. So today we would be having another locked in my challenge, and today we got Prisha, a very OG locked in member since here in day one, and yeah, recently she started Dance Vibes, and yeah, Prisha, go on and introduce yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I'm Prisha. I'm 16 and I'm the founder of Dance Vibes, which is a tech brand meant to create apps by dancers for dancers. And really, my big ethos and like my whole brand is the idea that dance really is the future. That like the dance, like the global dance industry market cap is anywhere from $2 to $3 billion USD. And personally, I feel like that is way too little considering like just how like really expansive the industry is. So that's really what my big ethos is and what I'm going to share more about today, like really like why dance is the future. And in terms of like past experience, like I'm really big on Instagram and like posting like my dance videos and choreography. I also did have a YouTube channel at one point with it just like basic like study aesthetic motivation, that kind of thing, which is still up there if you want to watch my like study with me's. But yeah, now pretty much dance and dance vibes is really my big thing right now.
Okay, thanks, and yeah, go for the TED Talk now.
Perfect. Um, yeah. So again, back to my thing about like why dance really is the future. So I like to say that like there's people who like to geek out about like AI, tech, fintech, that kind of thing. I like to say that I just like to geek out about dance because from like a business perspective, dance is really like a huge thing, and I feel like not many people realize that. So I like to say that the dance industry is broken up into these like five main buckets: dance studios, the competition space, content, like the industry as a whole, and also products. So from like a dance show, obviously the first bucket, dance studios, it's a very like tried and true business model in the dance space where you just open a dance studio, you pay the building rent, you charge some money for some dance classes, get some good teachers, have an Instagram page. You get one kid who likes to dance, they will tell their parents, who will tell their friends. It's like a very tried and true business model with like recreational classes, private lessons, annual performances, that kind of thing. It's a very standard family business model, which does get like some money. Like, no, you're not going to get like super rich from having a dance studio, but you are, going to be living comfortably, and it's not like a huge risk to take to start a business like this. It's a very like low risk business model. And then also the competition space. So like dance competitions is also a really huge space. So like dance competitions where will like pay money to compete your own routine and choreography. And then obviously, like if you're like the more routines you're doing, the more money you're paying and the more money that competition circuit is making. Again, also a very tried and true business model. Like these take a little more effort to market, but it's a still very standard business model. Also, dance conventions. And if someone who doesn't know what a convention is, like for dance, it's basically where you're just taking dance classes all day. And really, where like the big money grab for these dance conventions is having like really famous dance teachers. So, for example, like one of the big dance conventions now, Ovation, it's a ballroom convention. And one of the main teachers is Derek Huff, who was on Dancing with the Stars and World of Dance. So, every dancer like will tell their parents, like, I want to go to Ovation because I want to take class from Derek Huff. And it's just like the whole event is completely marketed around him. And even if there are other dance teachers, like it's Derek Huff from Dancing with the Stars and World of Dance. Like, why would you not want to go to that convention? So that's also where the huge money grab is. And there's like, especially for conventions too, it's a very big business model because like they charge so much money for you to take class from all these amazing people. You're going to post your stuff on Instagram, you're going to tell your friends that you really like the convention, so they're just going to keep getting in more people. It's a very standard business model, and also a lot of conventions are investing a lot more in like marketing, so hosting lots of events, free merch, again getting like really big famous trendy dance teachers like Blake McGrath, Derek Huff, Dexter Carr. All of that is also becoming a very big industry, and there's like a lot more newer dance conventions, especially recently. And then the next big bucket is content, specifically like social media. Obviously, TikTok dances will go viral, but they're not going to go viral from that one person who doesn't know how to dance. They're going to go viral from a really good dancer who can do a TikTok dance in a certain way that looks like easy to do, yet it also looks very intricate. There's like a lot that goes into that. So Yeah, but basically, that's how TikTok dances will go viral within like a couple of hours or a couple of days. Also, Instagram is huge for dancers. Um, right, like if you scroll through Instagram, your feed is probably going to be like food videos, ASMR, basic stuff like that. If you go through a dancer's Instagram like mine, it's literally just dance, like videos from current choreographers, trending dances, class videos, that kind of thing. It's literally just dance. So it's a really big way for dancers to grow their personal brand, especially for like some older dancers who want to start teaching, like at conventions or just teaching big classes. It's a really, really good way for them to grow their brand. Also through YouTube, like in the early 2000s, that was really when a lot of famous dance teachers and choreographers like Paris Global, Sean Bankhead, who has choreographed for Tate McRae recently, would like post their class videos and really build like a big brand on YouTube. And also, now choreographers like Kyle Hanagami will literally charge for like premium content like that to like watch his tutorials and learn his recent dance, so that kind of thing. Especially on Instagram and YouTube, premium content for dancers, especially famous dance influencers, has been huge for them to actually get a job. Right, because before, if you wanted to be a dancer and make money, you had to go to all the auditions, like book a job, that kind of thing. But now, no, if you're a good dancer and you can make good content out of it, like online from your bedroom, from your dance studio, and people will pay for it, like maybe you're not rich, but you are very comfortable financially doing that. And also, it's just kind of referred to, at least like among dancers, as like the industry as a whole, getting to actually perform on a stage or like for other people as a dancer. So, like performing backup for concerts, tours, music videos. Like, for example, right now, Tate McRae is really like the artist that everyone, especially like every dancer, wants to dance for. Well, because like one, she's Tate, like she's iconic, but also especially because Tate McRae was a dancer growing up. So she treats her dancers very well. A lot of artists will not do that. Like there's been a lot of like, not horror stories, but like some dancers who don't get great treatment from the artist that they are dancing for. But Tate, she's like very understanding. She'll like have like snacks, candy. She'll play games with like the backup dancers. Like they're not like two completely separate people. So yeah, she's really big among like dancers who like they see like dancing for Tate McRae as the pinnacle. Before Tate, it was Beyonce, getting to dance for the Super Bowl, or Dallas Cowboys halftime show with Beyonce was the standard. Before that, it was Janet Jackson. So kind of like every couple of years, there's like a big new standard among dancers of like, oh, if I can dance for this artist, like I've made it. And then also TV shows and movies, especially. Like I know X Factor was a huge thing in the early 2000s, especially because there were a lot of dancers on the creative team for that series. So it was a really big deal, to like have dancers leading that project, but also to get dancers actively like on TV in front of people. Also cruise ships, like I know especially for Disney Cruise, you can make a lot of good money if you get a 6 month or a 1 year contract with Disney Cruise and you can dance in their cruise shows. Like it's a very decent job. Also, obviously, commercials, and I've highlighted that a lot of brands do invest in dancers for ad campaigns and commercials, especially recently. Right, like Apple did their ad "I'm Not Remarkable," choreographed by Ryan Heffington, who is like if you're a dancer, like Ryan Heffington is a very iconic choreographer who's done a lot of stuff with like Rihanna and like a bunch of other dancers. Obviously, Gap, like the Cat's Eye ad was really big, and then recently the Sweats campaign with Young Miko. And what was really interesting about the Sweats campaign that Gap recently did with all those dancers and Young Miko is that a lot of the dancers on that project were really famous assistants in the convention space, or like famous teachers and dancers who would take class in the convention space. So it was like a really big deal, especially in the dance community, that there are like well-known dancers in this campaign. Same thing for the Gap ad with Cat's Eye. The choreographer on that project was from a famous dance convention. The dancers in that project were from the same convention. It was a very like full circle thing. So yeah, just like some more examples, like Gap, Apple, like the State Farm ad with Cat's Eye at the Super Bowl, the Dove campaign at the Super Bowl. Like there's just like a lot more dancer centered commercials right now, especially because dance is very entertaining for a consumer or like a regular everyday person to watch. So it makes sense that more brands would invest in that kind of stuff. And then like the lesser tapped into market for the dance industry is also products, like for example, apparel or like dance wear, so like dance activewear. Like what really separates dancewear and like activewear is just that dancewear is more colorful. Like a lot of brands invest in like color palettes and like color theory research for R&D to do stuff like that. Also like the sweat resistance technology, because you are dancing for a long time in dancewear, so that just makes sense. Like some big brands right now are Tiger Friday, Five, Joe and Jack's, and they're all based in Utah. So Utah is kind of where all like the big dancewear apparel brands come out. Um, Also, like there's a bunch of like dance notebooks, especially on Amazon, things like that. And then also something that I'm very passionate about because nobody really knows about it is dance tech. So, you have like fintech, ed tech, mark tech, but dance tech is also a growing field. So software for dancers or for dance use cases. Um, and the reason that I like to say that dance tech is a very like blue ocean or like untapped market is because currently the really big players in the dance tech space is just like these simple CRM systems that like dance studios or dance conventions and competitions will use to keep track of everything. But like there's like so much more for dance tech, especially on the consumer side, that like there's nothing really out there like for dancers. So I'll kind of get into that later. But yeah, as a whole, again, like if the dance industry is so huge with, like dance studios, competition ecosystem, content, like the industry, like performance as a whole, products, like it's kind of mind boggling to me that the valuation of the market as a whole is only 2 to 3 billion when it could easily be like, much more than that or even comparable with like the AI market. And then in terms of why my whole ethos is that dance is the future, like I could see dance becoming, like the global market cap becoming much higher, more dance campaigns like Gap and like other fashion brands are doing. Like the reason I just see dance becoming more present, like in everyday life rather than, AI or like fintech or what you're seeing right now, is because it is becoming digital first. Like before, it was very rare for you to walk into a studio and you'd be allowed to have your phone in the first place. But now the standard is you have your phone when you walk into a studio, you are listening to music, you are warming up with that, or you are filming videos after class. But before, you couldn't even do that. So it is becoming very digital first, especially with content too. Like I said before, if you wanted to make money as a dancer, you had to perform, you had to get it like an actual, dance job. But now, no, if you can film a good a TikTok video, or like a good Instagram reel, and you can also make that content premium, or you can just get brand campaigns, like you can make a decent living. So it's becoming very digitized and like keeping up, especially with AI too. Like there's a lot of dancers who are leveraging AI to research jobs, edit content, that kind of thing. And also, dance is very identity driven. And this is also why a lot of brands like Apple and Gap are investing in dancers for their campaigns, because dancers are just fun to watch. And dance is really a lifestyle. It's not just a hobby or a sport. Like most people who are dancers, they will be dancing their whole life. It's not like any school sport like football or soccer where it's very rare that you're going to do it your whole life. But no, with dance, like you might start it because you think it's fun or because your parents forced you, but it's not rare that like you're still going to be dancing for the next like 20, 30 years of your life. Like it's not rare at all. So that's why, like especially with like everyone's so focused on Gen Z and Gen Alpha and like they are the future. Like, well, yeah, because also a lot of them will be dancing. And then also, like in marketing or business terms, it's a very blue ocean market, especially for dance tech or like software for dancers. There are really not many players in that market. Like I said earlier, really the big like dancer made software companies are just making CRM systems. And, even with AI, that does get boring after a while. But like for example, there's no like Spotify for dancers. Like if you open like if I, like for example, as a dancer using Spotify, and like I've talked to other dancers who use Spotify or Apple Music, like there's so many more features they could add to help dancers. Like maybe like an AI that could literally like edit your music for a competition piece, or could help you brainstorm concepts and songs to go with that concept for a concept video, right? Like there's like not many like niche products for dancers, or any of those niche products for dancers are meant for like beginners. Like here you could like, for example, Steezy or CLI or Space where you can like learn dance from your phone. But those are just for beginners, right? Not really for like the pre-professional, intermediate, advanced competitive dancers who are looking for something like that. Let me find the next slide. And then also why I feel like there are very few players in like dance tech especially, or why there's few successful players, is I like to say that especially for products, like we're talking business, there are user-friendly products and then there are dancer-friendly products, right? So user-friendly products are like super easy to use. Anybody can use it. It's accessible, it's functional, user-centered, right? But like dancer-friendly, and I can say this with as experience as someone who kind of sits between like tech and business and also dance. Dancer friendly products are a whole other level of easy. Like actually right now we're like at Dance Vibes for our next app, we're currently like completely changing the UI because I thought that I made the UI easy enough in the first version, but then I had some dancers test it and they're like, Prisha, this is too complicated. I don't know what this button does. I don't know why you have so much text. So that's why we're completely like changing that up right now. And that's really our huge focus because really for dancer friendly products, it's a whole other level of easy. I'm talking like dead simple, like anyone from like a 10-year-old dancer who is tech savvy to like a 60-year-old studio director has to be able to use it, especially in like a studio or like competition ecosystem. So that's why like minimalism, maybe like 1 or 2 buttons per page is really the play. Like one of my favorite examples is right, like Slack is a very easy product. You have your Slack channels, you get your notifications, you type in your like chats, that kind of thing. Many a time I have like put Slack in front of a dance teacher or a dance studio director or like my adult dance friends, and they're just like, Prisha, get your phone away from me, right? Because to them, they like when they look at Slack, they see, why are there so many buttons? Why are there so many colors? Like, why does it look like this? But to anyone else, especially someone in tech, you would think, oh no, Slack is so easy to use. Like I use it all the time. But you know, like as products like that, also Notion, right? Like it's all like Notion, for example, already has a super steep learning curve, and then if you put it in front of a dancer, it's like 10 times steeper. Like it's 10 times harder to use. So that's really why, especially for dance tech products or just like any dancer made products in general, it has to be like dead easy to use, like super easy to use. And like more about what we're doing at Dance Vibes, really the whole idea behind it is apps by dancers like me and also for dancers, and not just like beginner dancers like who want to learn how to dance, but like for people who are already dancing and they need more tools to stay with that. And what we're currently developing is the dancing app, which is an app designed for competition dancers. So the idea is like calendar, files, corrections, which are just like feedback, like everything all in one app. Because currently a lot of dance studios, they have like so many group chats among like dancers, parents, teachers. It's like way too much chaos. Like, and I've seen this in the US, Canada, international. So the idea is everything dance team in one app. And that sounds like a very, you know, like simple idea to like anybody who's not a dancer, but in the dance space, it is really truly a novel idea. Like a lot of dancers and teachers have come to me I can't believe I never thought of this before, or I can't believe no one else has done this before. Right, because like dance is unfortunately kind of falling behind, especially in comparison to AI or other industries. But again, there's still so much money to be made there, and there's so much opportunity to really tap into that space if you know how to target dancers. So that's what I do a lot. Like, yes, I am working on an app, but I'm also DMing so many dancers like, hey, can you check this out? Or what do you think of this new screen feature? I'm also like talking to a lot of dancers. Like there's this joke at my dance studio that I'm like the interviewer because I'm always like, hey, what do you think of this idea? Or what if I changed this app screen? And they're all like, Prisha, stop talking to me. Like, stop interviewing me about like your product ideas. And I'm like, no, I have to interview. I have to know what you want. I have to know how easy I have to make this so that I can help dancers like us and I can help keep dancers more organized and keep things streamlined, and that kind of a thing. But yeah, that was just pretty much all I had to share about dance. dance vibes and just the idea that dance really is the future and it really can be prevalent in a lot more people's lives, especially like as more brands invest in dancers for their campaigns. Like as more dancers can find products to keep everything centralized and just all of the above.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Prisha. And I think I just learned a lot more about the dance industry since I am not like a big dancer myself. But yeah, I got a few questions for you about like how you look at, especially want to know more about like dance tech and yeah, you've mentioned how there's like fintech, there's like how all of different types of technology, but there's like a very like dance is not being undermined. And I really agree with how you highlighted like there's the personal IP and how everything's gonna get digitalized. And one thing I was thinking if you heard of like RWA, the real world application, I feel like tokenization of like someone's personal IP would be a pretty cool thing, like an NFT. So like a dance stored inside an NFT. Um, yeah, let me know what are your thoughts on this one. I just got a random thought.
Oh yeah, for sure. Actually, yeah, like the idea of like AI and dance kind of intersecting in that way, like training models, like on dancer footage, so that you like it can like understand dance movements and like give you feedback. Like a lot of people have actually come to me with that idea. Like a computer vision model where basically if you just feed it like a bunch of dance videos that it can like understand movements in that kind of way, because especially for sports too, like people who like football players, especially watching game footage now, they have like AI stats and it can like scan through like your video. I think yeah, for dance that would be definitely very cool to see that. I think especially for dancers with AI, because I've talked to like a lot of dancers about AI and I've heard very mixed thoughts, like whether AI in dance is like a good thing and really helpful. Like I've heard that it can help dance studios who maybe can't afford to have that really expensive LA choreographer come over if they can just ask like an AI model who understands dance, like, can you like critique my dancers? Like that's really amazing. Like it makes it more accessible. But really, the huge fear with some like AI cynics in the dance space is that I don't want to be replaced by a robot. Right, like Elon Musk's huge like thing about humanoids, like you could like like there's videos of them like dancing, but you don't
Yeah.
want to watch a robot dance. That's just creepy, right? Even I've seen the videos; it's creepy as hell. You want to watch an actual human dance. So I think that's where like a lot of the fear from like AI cynics in the dance space is I don't want to be replaced by a robot, but you're obviously not going to get replaced by a robot, right? Nobody wants to watch a robot do the Nutcracker, or nobody wants to watch a robot dance next to Beyonce or Tate McRae. People want to watch humans and actual dancers like dancing. So I think, yeah, like to answer your question, I think AI and dance could be a huge way to enable more creativity and accessibility, but not necessarily replacement like a bunch of other people think.
Mm. And yeah, definitely. But I saw like a few robots actually dancing in like Shenzhen because recently I think China on that side, like I live next to the border, and they actually have a very rapid development in robotics, especially what you mentioned like the humanoids. And there was literally a performance of a robot dancing for like 5 minutes, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't think that I think it's just like the like a new spark, like it won't be a long thing, but eventually it will come back to humans. But what I have an idea about like how like the choreography, like the dance vibes may actually work would be like, for example, you have a famous actor. I forgot the person you mentioned, like a workshop worker, like a workshop dancer, and then you can talk to them and say, oh, can we have copyright from you for your personal IP, and we'll use this, and then you'll have some traits, you'll give us some tips. So like he'll be like, for he or she would be like specifically, if he's like a strict teacher, he'll put a strictness on the AI. And if he like specifically focus on like the leg or something like a movement, then you'll be getting more like kind of the style of the a niche of the like that famous choreographer or like the dancer. And then this would allow like people from around the world, they can pay like a little subscription fee to access for all of these um famous like trainers or something.
No, yeah, exactly. I think that's a huge part about like technology with dance is it makes it more accessible, right? Because like not a lot of studios can pay for those expensive choreographers. And I think
Yeah.
that part you said about like paying and like actually getting the IP, I think that's huge too. Because especially in the dance industry too, it's a huge, it's like a really huge, almost kind of seems as a scandal. When like dancers like copy from each other or like steal from each other. Actually in
Mhm.
like the freestyle space too. So you know like dance battles, like I think it's called like biting. And that's literally what they do. Like if you like if after someone goes in a freestyle circle and then like the next dancer will like literally copy that, it's like everyone goes like bite 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 because like you know like you're kind of like stealing from them, and especially in like choreography too. So I think like that's a huge thing too. Like if like for like training an AI model on dance, if you're actually like getting that IP from another dancer, like their past choreography, with like the proper like consent to do that, I think that's also going to make it much more easier. And like really like amazing things can come from that if people can get access to dance in that way.
Yeah, definitely. And right now, wait, can I know is it dance vibes or dancing? Like the I see the dancing everywhere, like in the comments.
Yes. No, yeah, I get everyone. Yeah, everyone it gets everyone confused too. So basically, the idea is Dance Vibes is kind of like the holding company, and then dancing is one of our like many apps that are to come. There's a lot more other exciting app projects in the background. I can't really talk more about that. But like my best customers and like my best users, they all know about those projects, and they are actively providing like feedback and stuff. Like I have a little group chat with all of my best users in dancing, and they're all contributing their ideas and their thoughts on like the UI and like other things for like our future apps by Dance Vibes.
Mm. And right now, are you doing this all like mainly alone still?
Pretty much, yeah. I do have some friends who help me out with like the coding and like technical part of it. But also, but in terms of like content, DMs, getting cold calls, and demos booked, that is pretty much all me. And I think also too because I'm so picky, right? Like I remember, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, I spent like 5 hours just fixing the UI of the dancing app when we were testing it, and it sounds so dumb. Right? Like I'm spending 5 hours on like color theory and like buttonography, but it's because I'm so picky and because I know that it has to be a dancer friendly product. It has to be like very, very easy to use. Like I literally spent just like 5 hours in my room. I'm like sitting in front of the code base, like adding these colors, changing these buttons. And then
Mm-hmm.
thankfully after the 5 hours, all of my users were DMing me like crazy. They were like, oh my gosh, Prisha, like I love this new version. It looks so much more easy to use. Like I can finally understand what this feature does. And I was like, okay, my 5 hours were well spent. But it is because I was like so picky like that I was able to do that kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's great. And like again, like this is like I think every a lot of the small details would really compound and stack up, and eventually what distinguish yourself is like based like not on one thing, but like a lot of these like small details. And yeah, thanks Prisha for today. And I think oh yeah, one more question. Wondering why do you think this dance industry is going to just really expand? I want to know a bit more of the rationale.
Yeah, for sure. That's like really good. That's a really great question. So, honestly, that was kind of like this whole idea that dance is the future. I didn't really understand that idea. Like, I feel like a few of my teachers were talking to me about this when I was like younger, like 10 or something, but I just never really understood it. And I think only recently, since I started Dance Vibes, I was really able to appreciate dance as a business, and also through Dance Vibes, like a lot of my clientele are like partners that I work with for events. Like I work with a lot of dance conventions, and like other dance podcasts like NSA, like for partnerships and marketing. And like really like the directors at those amazing companies have helped me understand dance from a business aspect and to really appreciate it in that way. Because I think that especially with AI, it's one more accessible to build like dance tech technologies. Like for example, at Dance Vibes, like when I want to create mock-ups of our future app projects to share with other users, I literally just go on like an AI tool. I'll ask it for a mock-up. I'll send it. You know, like it's like that prototyping is amazing. And then also with AI, entertainment is a huge thing, right? Like especially with YouTube too. Like before, Netflix was the number one streaming platform. Now it's YouTube because it's so much easier to post and watch something on YouTube than it is on Netflix. Like that friction is so much less on YouTube. And I think especially for dance too, like it's much easier to watch a dance video on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube than it is to watch like a step up movie on Prime Video. Like it's becoming a much more digital ecosystem in that way. Um, and I think especially the big thing for me is a lot of brands are investing in more dancer campaigns because at least for them
Mm.
to sell to a user or to a customer, it's much more engaging for a potential lead to watch dancers on a screen than it is to watch like a famous celebrity or like some random person modeling a product, right? And I think Gap, especially like the fashion brand, does this very well. Like every year they have 1 to 2 big dance ads. Like they had the jeans campaign with Cat's Eye. Like I think within 1 week they sold out of like all their jeans at every Gap outlet, and they even had like a Cat's Eye crew neck that came out. Within 1 day, it sold out. And then similar thing too with like the recent sweats campaign with Young Miko. Similar thing, they're like selling out of sweats. Like I think they sold out within like a week or something of that campaign too. And then there was also the accessibility ad with Apple a few months ago, and I think that was really huge too because a lot of
Yeah.
the dancers in that campaign were seated dancers, meaning that they're on a wheelchair, they have polio, so they can only dance from like the waist up and use their upper body. And it showed that like especially in the dance community that like those people are dancers too. Even if they can't use their full body capacity, they can still dance from the waist up, they can still dance. So like really to answer your question, basically dance is becoming more prevalent in the digital space, and especially with AI too, like entertainment is going to like matter a lot more. If people working in these high tech jobs, like there's just going to be like more technology to watch dance, there's going to be like more time for people to watch dance, and I think that is just really going to take over the like content and marketing industry as a whole.
Yeah. I I would say, like, for my perspective, I think that definitely if there's more sponsorship, and especially like how the money's flowing to one something, then it will definitely do well. And the like it's just like a positive feedback loop. And but because I'm just not too sure, like, if dance, because there's a lot of like different like other options, like yeah. So I'm just a bit like thinking if this could, like, this is like, I would say what you mentioned is like a more like optimistic situation. But yeah, just because I'm not in too familiar with the sector, so probably can't give too much comment. But I hope yeah, it would do well, and the dance industry is going to go up as well. And yeah, thanks Prisha for the time today. And yeah, looking towards how this project goes, and keep us updated soon.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Okay, see you Prisha. Have a nice one.
Bye.
Bye bye.